Good morning and welcome to our live video this morning. My name is Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. My company name is Jemini Crafts, so you can find me either looking for Jenny McCormack or Jemini Crafts. I apologise that I'm rather croaky this morning. I'm currently down with COVID, so there's no coffee and cards session this afternoon in Toaster, but I'm going to show you what we would have been making. And so for my lovely attendees in Toaster next Monday, I will do one of these and then one of the next lot of designs, because I change the designs every week for our coffee and card session. This is what we created on Friday at our coffee and card in Brackley, and this is using a fabulous free set of stamps and papers, and these are free with a purchase of £90 or more, a single purchase of £90 or more between now and the end of August. And this is from our Sale-a-Bration catalogue, which is here. If you haven't received yours yet, you can see it online. I will pop a post that takes you straight to the Sale-a-Bration brochure, and basically it's free items for purchase, for hosting a party, or for joining Stampin' Up. Hi Kerry. Thank you so much, Kerry. Yeah, I'm just very tired and it's just like a really bad summer cold and cough, so I'm sure I'll be over the worst in a day or so. So I will be featuring Sale-a-Bration items all this week, so you'll see more of these. There's some fantastic papers this year. These items are all free with a £45 order. So we have cards and envelopes, we've got stamps, and we've got backing papers in silver and gold. And then the one that we're looking at today, if I get there, is this one here called Wonderful World Stamp Set and Wonderful World Designer Papers. Let me show you those in a bit more detail. So this is the stamp set itself. There's no sentiments with it. It's just images, but they're distinctive images. So you get all of the detail in the stamp. Okay, and then the papers. This is what I've got left of the papers. So you get 12 sheets of these, and they're double-sided, and there's a mixture of florals and patterns. Morning, Moretta. Thanks for joining us. Oh, excellent. Catherine's got some hippo cards. I'll have that inked up. Anything from Sale-a-Bration, I don't think. So hippos may be next on my list. So really pretty and quite traditional, almost English flowers. So we've got roses, we've got irises, and we've got what could be cornflowers. I'm sure there are probably other things as well. So we've got this one here, this one, I've got this one with the roses and in the pinks and raspberry. This is a backing one. Let me turn this one over. So with these ones, you could easily use a circle punch or a die to punch those out. And there's some great examples of cutting these out with the postage stamp punch. So there may be an opportunity to do that. So Sale-a-Bration runs all the way through to the end of August. But the products are only available while stocks last. So if a particular item is very popular, then that may go out of stock. So there's that one. And then these large images, which you could fussy cut, especially some of the less intricate ones, I would. And this one with the blues And let me show you the reverse of those. So we've got some plain patterns. Got this one with the Rich Razzleberry backing. This one here. That's the one that we saw earlier. That one. And the green. So lots of choice. And if you saw my reel that I posted on Friday, I showed you all of the designs from the ladies at Coffee and Card, which were fantastic. So let me just show you these two. So this one uses that blue backing, and I've stamped this in Orchid Oasis. And this one I've stamped in Flirty Flamingo, and the sentiment just for you is from Charming Sentiments, this little one here. So you may notice that we've got two colours on this stamp. So we're going to go back to an old technique, which is using Stampin Write markers on the stamp to ink up certain elements, and then we're going to use an ink pad on the main part of the image for that. So I'm going to show you how we do that. Both of these panels are from the deckled rectangles, and I've got a couple here. And I think the one that I'm going to use, the stamp I'm going to use, because I haven't got it, is the iris for this morning. Yes, Carrie, we'd love to see Catherine's. She's more than welcome to post on our Gemini Crafts page. Okay, so this is the iris stamp, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our Stamparatus to make life easier for stamping, and you'll see why. So this is a stamp positioning tool. It does many things, but it allows us to stamp really easily. Just going to pop that underneath there for a minute. So what I'm going to do is decide which of these I'm going to use. I think I'm going to use the smaller one. Okay, so I start by placing my paper on my Stamparatus plate. So it's almost a little bit reverse of what you would do. And I'm going to pop a magnet on the edge there, and another one here, just to hold this in place. This will also allow me to put my envelope there and stamp my envelope as well. Oh, brilliant, Catherine. I've seen a few cows and things, so I look forward to seeing that. Okay, so I'm going to position my stamp here. Let's fold that back a little bit. And I can put my sentiment at the bottom. I might change my sentiment out if I've got a little bit more space. And I do apologise if I'm croaky. Hopefully my voice will last the course. Okay. So what I'm going to do first, although it doesn't matter what order I do this, bless you, Catherine, is I'm going to use my Stampin' Write marker. I've got Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to take my glasses off, and I'm going to ink up the stalk elements of this with my pen. I'm sure if you can, oh yes, you can see that hopefully. So I'm using the edge of the pen, and I'm using the broad tip, not the fine tip. The fine tip is for writing or filling in very small amounts. There wouldn't be enough ink on there to cover the stamp, so I'm using the broad tip, and these contain inks that are like our inks in the stamp pads. So I'm just going to pop that down. So just going to press that down. Now the good thing about using the Stamparatus is if I wanted to make that deeper, or I'd missed a little bit, I could go back in, for example, and just add a little bit more ink until you get the desired effect that you want, like so. So now I've got the green elements stamped up, inked and stamped. Now I've got the main part of the iris to do. Because this is a DistInktive stamp, it needs a reasonable amount of ink coverage to make the distinctive pattern come out. So whilst I could use a pen, what I'm actually going to do is use my ink pad. So I'm just going to clean this off, and the only reason I'm doing that is so I don't contaminate my ink pad with Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm going to use Rich Razzleberry, and this design actually was from an idea that Catherine, who's with us, actually came up with. It was her colour choice, which I think really worked, and I'm going to use this as my backing because that's got Rich Razzleberry in it. So I'm inking up the stamp, and you will see obviously as I'm inking that up that I'm also inking up some of the greenery. I lift this up so you can see. Hi Annabelle. So you can see that I've not only covered the stamp but also the greenery. So I want to take that out because I don't want to cover this up. So I'm using an old-fashioned cotton bud. They are paper based these days. They used to be plastic, didn't they? And I'm using that to take off the ink from the panels that have got the green on. So I haven't wet this because if you wet it you'll just extend out the ink. Hi Babsy. So literally just taking those elements off. Now I don't mind if there's a little hint of that colour on there. I just don't want the whole thing covered where I don't need it. And it looks like I've got something else on there. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm just going to pop that down, like so. There we go. I'll just lift this up. So hopefully you can see the detail of that iris in the middle. There was something on there from my ink pad. So I think what I am going to do is I am going to stamp another one. I just need to clean this off. I don't know what it was. There we go. Okay, that will do for the moment. I can still use that one. So just to show you the detail. And you could, of course, if you wanted to do a whole run of these, you could add the sentiment on the bottom as well and stamp that at the same time. So let's see if I've got another of that size. I do love these decorative rectangles, but you could use the stitched rectangles, Stitched So Sweetly if you've got those. Really, any. I didn't mark where I had that, so that will do. Doesn't have to be in exactly the same position. Now, if I was doing multiples of these, I would just pop a bit of washi tape. This has been on my plate for a very long time. But if I was doing multiples of these, I would add a little bit of washi tape here and here. Like that. Just to mark the corner that I needed to place that onto. Okay, so when I came back to it maybe a day or two later, I could just position that in there and know that it was in the right place. So let's do that again quickly, and also for anybody who's joined us since the start. Let's change out the green this time. Let's have a different green. I've got, let me see, old olive, good old olive. So good morning to anybody who's joined me since the start. Apologies for my croaky voice. Hopefully COVID will do one soon. Okay, so I'm using our Stampin Write marker for the greenery. And that allows us to build that up. So my old olive marker pen is actually quite light, so I can go over a couple of times to build that up, knowing that it'll be in the right place every time. Okay, and you could add a little bit extra colour as well. So if you wanted a bit more definition on one edge, for example, you could do that and sort of blend it on the stamp itself. Like that. Hi Fran, thanks for joining us. So now I've got a little bit of definition on the side in addition to that. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe that clean. As I say, there's only a little bit of ink on there, but I really don't want to transfer that to my Rich Razzleberry. So that's the colour that I'm using. I can see it's got a few odd bits on there. Just scrape that off. How are the floods and the rain for you, Kerry? I hope you haven't had any since the weekend. Thanks, Libby. Thanks for joining us. So sorry I can't be with you this afternoon. Okay, so I've used a mixture of greens on the stalks. I've cleaned my stamp off, and now I'm using Rich Razzleberry on the main flower part. As I say, you could use pens, but where you've got a DistInktive stamp, it really needs more ink. And I'm going to use our little cotton bud just to take it off here. Now if you're using different colours, just get a different cotton bud each time, and obviously once it's full of ink you want to throw that away, although I'm sure there's something you could do with that, I dare say. Okay, so I'm just taking the bulk of that off. As I say, I don't mind if there's a little bit of transfer, that's fine. And pop this on here. There we go. So you can see a little bit of the colour transfer, which I rather like. I don't know if it comes across in that or not. Okay, while I'm here, I'm going to do the envelope. So I know it needs to be the edge here roughly. Let's have a look and see. If I put my envelope like so, I think that will work nicely. I'm going to open this up like that. Oh my goodness. Bless you, Kerry. So for those of you who don't know, that Kerry's in Australia and they've had absolutely terrible rain and flooding. So I'm glad everything's open, but not glad to hear that it's going to come back. Okay, so it doesn't matter which order you do this stamping. So I'm going to stamp this time with the Razzleberry to start with. Just throwing that cotton bud away. Let's retrieve it. There we go. Yes, it's rather warm. It's due to be 40 degrees centigrade with us, which is a lot for here in the UK. I mean, in Europe, of course, they have that fairly frequently. It's just us here not used to it. Okay. Ah, I wondered, Moretta, how come you were watching? Bless you. It's nice to have you join us anyway. Oh, I didn't clean that off. Oh, it's because I didn't wipe it down properly, did I? Never mind. We'll have a pinky stalk. I'm going to use the darker Mossy Meadow green. That'll cover some of it up. So it's amazing how much ink remains on there if you don't wipe it down in between. There we go. There we are. That will do. Okay, so there is our envelope in preparation. Let's wipe this one off. Okay, so I've got two. Let's remove that before I cover ink everywhere. And then, so I've got this backing, which is really pretty, but it's got roses on, and obviously this is an iris, but still does look quite pretty, doesn't it? This was the other choice, which I think just looks really lovely. And then I could actually make that one into one as well, because although it's got a slight blemish on there, if you didn't know, I don't think you'd know. So let's add a sentiment to this. Now I was going to use that little just for you, but I might change it up as I've got a little bit more space. Might just do a hey there. Oh no, that's good luck. Hey there. Okay. So I'm going to stamp that in Rich Razzleberry to match. And I haven't used, oh, I might have used this stamp, but I'm just going to stamp on the back of here. Yeah. Hey there. So, my final question to you is that side or this one? I think that makes it look more elegant, doesn't it? Okay, so I've got a base white card that I'm going to use. So I'll just see what anybody thinks, whether you think I should switch that over and use that. Yeah, I think I prefer, but if the flowers were irises, I think it would work. But I think as a quite classic looking design, I think that works nicely. And that was down to you, Catherine. Thanks, Fran. I'm glad we agree. Everybody agrees. Good stuff. Okay, so this is just a basic white card base, like so, like that. And then I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. Ooh. So I finally released details of our July class in a box, which has been really popular. So thank you to everybody who's signed up for that already. I've got the cards here if anybody would like to see them. There we go. There we are. So I'm going to put this up like so. I think it's straight. Quite difficult to tell with those deckled edges. And then I think I might add just a couple of, or maybe just one, I don't know, the little butterflies. Hi Carol, thanks for joining us. I hope you're well and coping in this heat. So these are our brushed brass butterflies. Bit of a mouthful. Just going to use maybe a single one like that. Yeah, butterflies are so popular. Apart from Moretta. But I hope she'll forgive me because it's just a small one. Okay. So that's 3. And obviously I can add a stamp on the inside. But the other thing we did was when I cut the papers, I ended up with a little strip left over. And so I popped the strips on the inside here. So let's see if I've got one of those left in my little packet. So I've cut this piece 10 centimetres so I can get 6 out of a sheet. Is that it? That's the one. So to say, for those that are missing out on coffee and card this afternoon, don't worry, you won't miss out. I'll bring this next week so you'll have an opportunity to do this one as well. Oh yes, that's true, it doesn't look real, does it? And now, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Catherine, but at Coffee and Card on Friday, put an alternative piece across there. Obviously this wouldn't necessarily be the right one, but that was I thought that was a really nice effect as well. I'm just going to put the matching piece inside. There we go. So that's it, nice and short and sweet for a Monday morning. Just going to have that a little bit up from the bottom. Hi Chris, thanks for joining us. I've forgotten you were off this week on holiday, so that's today's one with that little iris, and then we've got a cornflower type, and then we've got the single little rose as well. And obviously with these you could add in multiples of colours as well if you wanted to. And those that want to see, let me just show you the cards from our class in a box for July. So this features the Sun Prints papers, and I matched it with a different set of dies this time. I do like to chop and change it a little bit if I can. So we've got this one here with the vellum, printed vellum behind, and the Sun Prints paper underneath. And you get all of the die cuts and everything. The only thing you don't get are any stamped elements, so you would need your own greetings to finish these off, and obviously you just need glue and a trimmer. We have this one here, this one, which is just the papers. I mean, the papers themselves are amazing. And you have enough in your pack for 2 each of all of these, and you'll have plenty of pieces left over. There we go. Because each sheet of paper would do 6 cards, and you get 6 sheets. So technically you could do 36 cards just with the papers alone. So if you're interested in that, booking is still open. It's £20 for the class in the box with all the contents. If you're in the UK, you can order any of the extra items at a special price, and you can take that class online as well for just £10 if you're outside of the UK, or if you already have the products. Oh, bless you, Moretta. No worries. Okay, so that is it for today. I will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow evening I have an online team meeting, so we will be here at 10 AM again tomorrow, Tuesday. So I hope you're able to join me. I'm off for a coffee followed by a cold drink. So thank you so much, everybody. Hi Linda, thanks for joining us. Sorry, I'm just wrapping up, but you can watch it on replay shortly or on YouTube. And this will be the design that we do next week at Coffee and Card on Monday, and then we'll have a different one this week on Friday. Thank you so much, everybody. You can find out details about Sale-a-Bration. Just go to Jemini Crafts or follow the links. Thank you so much, everybody. Do take care. Bye for now.